one of the simplest things that we do for our listings though.
So the big question is, what are top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? To get the answers, we interview the top real estate agents to learn their secrets to success. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Elite Agent Secrets show. Today we've got Tim Belko with us of the Results Group, and in 2021 they did 157 deals. He's in the top 1 to 2% of 60,000 agents at Berkshire Hathaway. He's been in real estate for over 17 years, and for over the last 15 years plus has also been in the real estate investing side. So he has a very unique perspective of the whole transaction cycle and everything to do with real estate. Today he is going to be dropping bombs about being trusted advisor, professionalism, and the power of experience. Tim, thank you for jumping on the show with us today. How you doing, my man?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you guys for having me. And so that's the top 0.5% of the Berkshire Hathaway network. So based on volume or units sold for 2021. So we were killing it.
I love that. I like it. I'm just going to correct you. It's actually 0.5, not 1 or 2. It's 0.5%. I love it. So the way we love to start these shows is take us back. Been in the industry 17 years. And just before on air, you mentioned about your uncle being in the game, maybe other family members are, but take us about 17 years. How the hell did you get into the crazy world of real estate? And take us on a journey over the last 17 years up until today, transactions, sales, and kind of your journey along the way.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. I was fortunate enough to have an uncle that was in the business as a top producing agent for 35 years. And, in 2005, when I was in college, went to Temple University in Philly. I was looking for something that I needed to do, for work. Didn't want to go work in, the mall or fast food. It just wasn't my thing. Had an interest in real estate, took the class, went under my uncle's wing, started that in April 2005. 2005, 2006, 2007 were fantastic years for a college student in real estate. And then 2008 hit and, shit kind of hit the fan. And I don't think anyone, fully expected the severity of the market collapse. So, 2008, 2009, 2010, having graduated from college in 2007 with degrees in economics and finance, I did some other things, full-time to make ends meet, just like a lot of other people did. And then I hit the ground running probably again in 2011 because, the market started to improve a little bit or at least stabilize. And that's where I was able to kind of get my footing. Having my uncle in the business, and that's one of the things that I'll talk about later on too, having that mentor that was always there for me to answer the questions, show me the ropes, but also for someone new in the business, the lead supplies being there were invaluable. But most of it was really that mentorship that, can be very helpful for a new agent. 2011, 2012, 2013, doing a good amount of business. I was doing it part-time, probably 15, 20 transactions a year. And then, over the last, say, 6-7 years are when I really started to accelerate things, because it was, as the market improves, you're always setting yourself up for the next market turn. And that's one of the things I always try and explain to the agents on my team is what you do now is directly going to impact how successful you are when the market slows down. Because, the last 2 years were a bit crazy. But over the last couple of years too, our team is a little bit different because having been around for so long, it's in a transition or it's transitioning to me, which, a lot of the businesses when they go to a second generation of a family fail. And, now we're looking at, okay, well, what are the proper ways to transition it? And, a lot of what I'm doing now is not only supporting the agents on my team, but also looking at the ways to, improve the systems that I know you guys have talked about on other podcasts. Improve the workflows. How do we track things so that, we are setting ourselves up for another 30 years of success. And that's where I think a lot of our experience really comes in, for the client. because it's not every agent that can say, our team's been in business for over 30 years. So last year, I did added a few agents on the team. 2020, we did just about 25 million in sales. 2021, I was able to get that up to over 40 million in sales. So that's kind of a brief history of I guess myself and my team. So
of 17 years. I've got my first question is part-time. I know the times were different back then. You got 20 deals. First thing I want to know, how'd you get the 20?
Yeah, no, it was tough. And I know a lot of people knock part-time agents, but I think it's really more so about the person behind the work. I was fortunate enough that the team that I had, like I said, we had the systems in place that, we had the lead generation. And a lot of that was me relying on my uncle's listings for business because he's a listing specialist. My business really took off too when I started to invest in myself more. But also, as when I was a part-time agent, it was okay. If I'm not available at this time, do I have the network of agents that can help me get these people into homes? There were a lot of times when I had another agent, showing a home for me because, I was very open about it with my clients. I wasn't available 1:00 on a Monday like I am now, and, I'd have those agents show it for me, get the client in the door because that's a first step. And then I'd handle the offers and negotiations from there. So it was really about, having the, not just the structure, but also the support behind it to make it all work.
I think this is why me and Peter, I guess, going against the grain, we understand why people go solo and some people crush it. Like some people go out there and they've got that whole real estate thing. They just get it and it works and they crush it. But we're actually very fond of teams, and a lot of agents are away from them. They're like, want to do the solo thing, which we do get. But I especially think for newer agents that you were in this case and newer agents that are coming on, I just think for the dollars you'll spend on split, for the most part, as long as it's not really unreasonable, the education and the fast track of experience that you'll get in, say, the couple of years that you could just knuckle down with a great team, that is worth every penny. Like you can shortcut basically 5 years solo to essentially 2, maybe less, with a great team. And Absolutely. Then you can go off and do whatever else you want. And you touched on the whole mentorship side, and something, again, we're big on. Obviously, we coach as well. And part of the coach side, we believe in investing in yourself. And if you see a team split because they're a good team who are actually mentoring you to get what you want out of this world with regards to real estate, that's your paid coaching. The split is the pay. That is you going to your team. I appreciate the coaching. I'll give you X% of these deals, right? And it's just structured differently. It's a pay on basically close rather than, anything else.
So then the other thing that you just said also is when you started investing in yourself, that's when things really started going faster. So what do you mean by that? Can you expand on that a little bit? Because like to Andrew's point, yes, you are paying for coaching when you join a team, right? But did you do anything outside of that in order to just accelerate your growth?
Yeah, when it's, I tell all the agents on my team, you're welcome to rely on me for business, and I'm going to give you as many leads as I can from our various sources. But really, the best way to take your business to the next level is remembering that, if the more time and effort you put in, you're going to see the value in that as well. So, whether you're getting out there and doing the open houses, going there, knocking on the neighbors in your neighborhood, talking to them. When I really started to take off business, and, I said it before, but, I sell the shit out of Belmar, New Jersey, which is 08031. I've, about probably 9 years ago, I started buying some Zillow advertising there. And, at that point, no one really wanted it because at the time that the homes were averaging $150,000 a year. But, those people, the first time home buyers that I was working with, they're the ones that were the basis for success now because they, I've helped them resell their place and then buy new places and their business for my other client, for my other agents. So I've sold probably 80 homes just in Belmar, New Jersey in the last 7 years, and it's not a huge town. But when when I say investing in yourself, whether it's buying advertising space or sending out marketing, or our team allows our agents to again invest in themselves too, because it's just going to make them a better, more rounded agent as well. You're welcome to rely on me for the business if you want, but if you want to take it to that next level, I'm going to give you advice on what you can do to help improve your business and grow that as well.
Yeah, I think that's huge, right? And that's kind of what I'm trying to get to is you're not only talking about investing in your business as in coaching and mentorship, you're talking about investing in your business from the perspective of lead generation and trying to acquire more business, right? So to make it full circle, when you were doing part-time, were you investing in your business then to, like buying Zillow advertising or doing any type of advertising? Or the part-time was mainly from like referrals from your team and just hustling in the time that you had?
Yeah, exactly. When it was part-time, I was basically, relying on the referrals from my uncle's 30-year portfolio of clients, and I was getting those a few years ago too. I remember one of his clients that bought a house off me 3 years ago, was someone who he had sold a house to her father 20 years ago and reached out to him when his daughter was ready to buy, so it was, back then when I was part-time, it was primarily just a lot of his business, whether it was leads from his listings or past clients. That's what we were basing it on. But definitely investing in myself was really putting myself out there more, and having the confidence to do so.
I think my follow-up question would be to bring us full circle to today or to last year, which I know our listeners will be curious about, is 25 million to 40 million, 2020, 2021 is an enormous leap. It's over 50%. How? Let's just go with how, and I'll let you answer it that way.
Yeah, no, that's a great, it's a great question because, part of it I think was market driven, based on how active our market was. And, during 2021, I had a new agent on the team that wasn't on the team in 2020. I'd actually reached out to him in early 2020 and he politely declined my invite. He was a new agent. He said, I did a few transactions. I'm feeling good. I said, okay. I said, I understand that, but from my experience, you're a new agent. And I knew the tools that he was being given by his existing broker. And in my opinion, it wasn't something that was going to set him up for success. And at the end of 2020, he reached back out to me. I give him a lot of credit. And he said, hey, are you still interested in having that discussion about me joining? I said, absolutely. So he joined in early 2021. And his goal for the year was 12 homes. And he killed it. And I'm so proud of him because he hit that goal in September. And, so that was a big deal. 2020 was really about me moving away from primarily me and expanding the team, and when he came on and had such a good experience, and he appreciated the fact that I was always there to coach and mentor him. He knew he could call me at 8 a.m. or 9 or 10 p.m. and I was answering it for him. And he had such a good experience. He brought another agent from, that he worked with before. And she's amazing. She works her ass off and she gives great client service because that's what we're all about, is protecting their fiduciary and making sure we act in their best interest. She's an amazing agent. And she joined in August of last year in 2021. And she did 14 transactions between August and December. So it wasn't so much, me buying more leads. It was me putting, I think, amazing people, having them join the team that really contributed to the growth.
Build leverage into your business, right? And then it just kind of grow. You multiplied yourself. You went, If I'm understanding correctly, it's like, hey, I can do X amount and then I'm capped just purely based on the economics of time. Like the physical restraint on me is the time in the day. There was 24 hours and people sleep most of them. So I've got to have more people doing it, which makes sense. And then, that just shows the power of leverage. I'm big fan of leverage and building it, and we speak about it a fair amount, or I do, kind of babble about it, let's say. But it's genuinely it's such a weird thing to be passionate about, but I think when you understand how much it can do for you in all aspects of life, it's an amazing thing to incorporate in all aspects of your life. Now, I want to actually dive into our first topic, which is, or your first secret to success, which is being a trusted advisor. So tell us why that is your first secret to your success.
Yeah, I think it's a really easy reason for success. Our job as a real estate agent is to be responsible for our clients' best wishes. We have that fiduciary responsibility. Whenever you act in the client's best interests, you're going to have a better outcome than if you're not. If you're just in it for the money, you're in it for the wrong reasons. The clients, when you make it very apparent to them when you first meet them, whether it's a buyer or seller, that you're working for them, not against them, that's going to help you. And then when you remember that throughout the transaction, that's how you get a happy client that's going to give you referrals. When I was running with a lot of buyers, and now I work primarily as a listing agent, and when I was working with buyers, I worked a lot of first-time home buyers. First time we met, I'd say to them, my job is not to sell you a home. My job is to educate and inform you so that you can make good, informed decisions every step of the way. I'm not going to sell you a home. I'm going to help you through the process of buying the one that you choose. And through that process, when they have a good educational experience, they understand everything. All of a sudden, the next time that they want to go buy or sell a home, they're going to call you. And, if you're with first-time home buyers, a lot of times they bring friends, they might bring family, and when you make that apparent in front of all of them, well, now you just built a referral network as well.
If you use that line, which is, I'm not here to sell you a home, I'm here to make you have a fully informed decision. I just butchered it. I'm getting that. If you actually use that quote, I imagine that is responsible for a lot of money for you, because that is one quote that will build endless goodwill, irrespective of whether they buy, referrals that will come from people who even don't buy.
Absolutely.
It's interesting that you say that, because I was out showing houses yesterday, and that's one of the things that I told to my clients. I'm like, hey, my fiduciary duty is to educate you and tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly about the house, so you can ultimately make the most educated decision about whether this is a right fit for you or not. And she goes, I like how neutral you are, because you're just highlighting the facts. You're not, trying to sway my opinion left or right. And because of that, I trust you. So now at the very end of all the showings that we have gone through, I felt like she valued my opinion about what I liked in each house, because I gave her the pros and cons of each property, and we were able to line it up a lot closer to the outcome that she was seeking, right? So then it made it a lot easier, and you didn't have as many decisions to make and cause decision fatigue after seeing 10 or 12 houses in one day, right? You can really just narrow them down. So when we go through, I really like what you're talking about here, because ultimately when you're becoming a trusted advisor, you're coming from a place that is so authentic and so calm that even if you do have decommissioned breath or you haven't closed the deal in a while, that deal will close because of the trust and the value that you have built, right?
Exactly.
And it's something that you continue building on, which means that they're always going to have a great experience. And that is something, Tim, to your point, is you have now built that relationship and that network even deeper, because now they trust you through your expertise. So it just makes that much easier.
Yeah. And, when I work with a seller, it's a little bit different, because obviously I am trying to sell the home, when I sit down with them, I always I always tell them I'm going to walk them through the marketing. I'm going to walk them through the comparable sales. And, I say my job is not to just put it in the MLS and hope it sells. In this market, in many markets, people always say, oh, well, I want to cut your commission because everything will sell. And I don't hide that fact. I'm like, okay, you can absolutely find an agent that'll take it for a discount commission. But if they can't fight for their commission, how are they going to fight for your money, seller? And I say, my job as a listing agent is not to put the home in the MLS, hope it sells. I'm going to do my best to add value throughout the process, so that at the end of the day, yeah, I might charge an extra % or two, depending on what type of discount you're getting. But I'm going to make that up either in negotiations for your price, negotiations for repairs, or in the marketing that I do. And, when I walk them through comparable sales, I say, did another agent do this with you? And a lot of times they say, well, no. My degrees are in economics and finance. I have a tendency to be rather analytical when it comes to things. Sometimes it bores people, but for the most part, they appreciate it because they can see how I came to the numbers, and they say, well, what price will this sell at? I say, I don't know. I say, but I'll give you a range of where I think will sell, and the market will always determine what your home's worth. So whether you're working with a buyer or seller, yeah, I always, like I said, I always try to give them the good, the bad, and the ugly, because when you come at it from that approach, they're going to be, I think, a little bit less on their guard and a little bit less defensive, and ultimately have a better experience.
I like what you're saying there. So one of the things that I have a question for you, by the way, Fox School of Business, I'm guessing?
Yes.
There you go.
That is correct.
We're both alums. I went to Temple myself, so I figured I'd sneak that in for anybody else that's listening. Temple in the house, we got the owls. Anyways, what are you doing from like a listing perspective to show the value to your sellers for the marketing that you actually are going to be doing? Like, because you're correct. You can put it in the MLS, and 9 out of 10 times, I feel like our sellers think that's all we do, but it's really not. So I'm curious to find out what is it that you're doing when you are listing a house. What other marketing are you doing besides the MLS and open houses?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And one of the things when I talk to a seller, and I go through the different marketing that we do, I say, hey, this is all great separately, but what really matters is how do we put it all together so that it works as a cohesive package for you? It's not just pieces of marketing, it's a campaign. Of course, I think it goes without saying, professional photography, any agent who's still taking pictures on their cell phone or putting themselves in a mirror, or having those blurry pictures is really doing a disservice to their client. So everything we do obviously starts with professional photography. One of the agents on my team, she also is a professional photographer. She's my mom. She's fantastic. I might be a little biased, but she's fantastic. So we do that. Of course, we get everything on Zillow, Realtor.com, a whole host of different other websites too. Being with a large broker, we have a lot of things that are going to be rather automated for us, so that it helps me spend more time doing the things that really that matter, for my client, whether it's talking to the agents that are favoring it or whatnot. We do a whole host of social media advertising, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Waze. We do a whole blast out there to get that out there. Of course, signs and directional signs are always good too. We do send the just listed cards out. We get things with a single property website. But one of the things I always like to do too with my sellers is really, before we even go active, we'll use it for a coming soon period where, we'll have a little bit of anything that's picture ready, we'll take. The seller is probably doing some of the recommended repairs and touch-ups that I did, so that we can focus on, so that buyers can focus on more of the positive things than the negative. One of the simplest things that we do for our listings, though, that we've had a great response from other buyers, agents. We put up little highlight cards throughout the home to really highlight things that are at the place. So you can see this. That's a little tent thing that we put up. Brian's been doing it for over 30 years, so that a lot of times buyers will forget, information on the home. Maybe their agent doesn't tell them. So we put up the highlight cards throughout so that people know it's new HVAC, new hardwood floors, immediate occupancy. This way, as they're going through, they're getting an answer to some of their questions, but it's also going to make a home stand out a little bit more in case they're seeing 10 or 12 places that day, and it'll kind of accentuate the positives. Usually what I'll do, like I said, is the coming soon period. We'll set the home to active. Showings will probably start on a Friday or Saturday. And then we'll usually publish an offer deadline. You've probably been seeing a lot of those for Monday or Tuesday, because it really helps to build that urgency. And it's about using all those features together so that, we have built up a market from the coming soon period when it goes active. When it goes active, having the tools in place so that everyone's already aware of it, able to get into the home. We've already worked out with the seller, making it easily seen by buyers in person so that we know that we're going to get some showings, and building that urgency for the, for the first weekend on the market. That was kind of a long-winded answer. Hopefully that helped.
How do you deal with like a difficult seller who, may or may not be wanting to give you a coming soon period, or wants to list the house way above where you think it should be, and that you're going to have a little bit of problems selling, right? And now all of a sudden you're doing some price reductions. And I'm asking this because this is a real life case scenario, whether you're going through it or you went through it, or you have some experience here. How do you sell properties like that? Yeah,
obviously it's price reductions aren't as common in the last year or two as they were, 7 or 8 years ago. But usually after my listing appointment, I'll send out a follow-up email to the sellers, and it'll go over everything that we discussed. I'll give them the kind of a punch list of things I recommend to get ready. It'll go over kind of some of the information that we discussed as far as the comparable sales go, and what my recommendation was for a range of pricing. And this way, we're giving them all the information so that they can make a good informed decision. If they still want to list higher, depending on how high that is going to determine, do we one list it, but say, hey, we want to have an authorized price reduction if we don't get an offer this time, because I don't want to miss the market entirely. Or do they want to list ridiculously high to a point where you don't want to do them a disservice? And it might be better to walk away from the listing. Other times you'll get the sellers that say, well, I don't really want to show my home that much. They'll give you 2 hours on a Saturday. And you get those, and you just got to explain to them, hey, we can do this, but it is going to affect the availability of agents to show your home. I work with a lot of investors. I had 2 duplexes that were listed down in Swedesboro over the weekend. And that one was a little tougher because we were struggling a little bit with the tenants. I ended up having agents on my team be there to make sure that Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 3, everyone could get in. And, we ended up having 20 showings on each one, or over 20 showings this weekend. So it's one of those, it's very case specific, I think, on whether it's unreasonable or reasonable request. And then how do we educate the client to make sure that, the decision they're making is really their choice.
Oh, and by the way, you might not have known this, but we've already helped over 100 agents cross over $100,000 per year and up in GCI with our predictable and scalable systems. So if you're interested in learning more about our courses and coaching to help you scale your business to 6 figures and beyond, then head over to go.eliteagentsecrets.com.